if someone tells him they don't want to talk to him and kicks him out, or there's a problem like that, then where's he supposed to go, you know? He doesn't do this hardly at all. He did it happened a lot with Mary. The idea of Cody leaving if there's a problem is kind of something that wives use and he uses sometimes. I mean, I know I've done it with him where I'm like, well, if you're gonna have a problem with me and we're having this issue and you're gonna act like that, there's another house over there.
Hey everyone, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It's Wednesday, September 14th. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Yesterday I did some voiceovers and I'm back in full effect and here I am. So I was super not feeling very well yesterday, and when I'm not feeling well, it's so hard for me to be upbeat and happy, and I was so low, and I noticed in my videos how my tone and how slow I was speaking, and that's just because I didn't feel good. Feeling a lot better today, so that's good. We're gonna have a very busy day. I'm going to be talking about a couple videos related to the sister wives, and I would just encourage you, if you haven't been watching this season, or if you haven't watched in a while, go back to the seasons, like right when they were trying to get ready to move to Flagstaff, to just see the discrepancies between how things were described this year versus how they were described back then. So different. Makes you realize how much this family lies. And ratings on TV are a part of that. Reality TV definitely doesn't lend itself to honesty. So it's just, you know, when you as a viewer get the wool pulled off over your eyes and you start to see the family for who they are, it's hard to ever look back at things the same and realize that so much of what we've been hearing about this family and knowing about this family hasn't been honest. So let's talk about a bonus clip that was released by TLC, and it relates to Robyn Brown and her discussion about Cody getting kicked out of houses. So here is the thing. We're going to talk about this one, and the next one we're going to talk about next week's episode about moving to Utah. So... Before we get into this video, do me a favor and give this video a thumbs up. Also, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. If you have not yet subscribed, turn your notifications on so you know when new content loads and you never miss a video, and make sure they're set to all. Yesterday, someone in my comments actually said, I thought I was subscribed and had my notifications on, and I wasn't subscribed, Katie. Thanks for the reminder. That's why I do these every day. So, and also make sure to leave me some comments. So this is a bonus clip from the episode that aired on Sunday night, September 11th. And that was the conversation between Cody and Christine on the end of their relationship. During a point in the very beginning of that episode, Cody went to Robyn's house to talk with her about the situation that had happened with Christine and discuss with her what the next steps were going to be. And he revealed that, you know, and they both talked about how Cody sometimes gets kicked out of people's houses. And he revealed that Mary, Janelle, and Robyn have all tried to kick him out of his own house. And it's a game that he doesn't like to play, and he wasn't sure if this was the same game that Christine was playing with him. Well, this clip that was just released as bonus on the TLC Facebook page is actually a clip of Robyn talking about kicking Cody out. And I just want to preface this by saying this. If you're in a marriage with a man that every time he gets into a fight with you, his initial reaction is to run, leave, and go away, or your reaction is to kick him out, that is not a good, healthy relationship. If you're in an argument with someone, sometimes space is necessary, but if the initial reaction is to just kick them out because I don't have to deal with you. If you're mad, go somewhere else. The problem with this family is that because Cody doesn't have to actually deal with anything or deal with the actual consequences of his behavior, and he doesn't have to work through any problems, and he can just go find another wife. Cody is not challenged to actually evaluate his own behavior in the situation, and he doesn't have to actually make changes because it's him. And he's the patriarch and he's the one in charge. And so if they don't like it, they can leave. And you know what they say about people that like leaders that say, if you don't like it, they leave? They're in a cult. I mean, I'm just saying. It's like almost cult-like behaviors. If you don't like it, you can leave. knowing full well that person is telling you, I'm not going to change what I'm doing. So this is how she started off the conversation.
If someone tells him they don't want to talk to him and kicks him out, or there's a problem like that, then where's he supposed to go, you know? Because he doesn't do this hardly at all. He did it happened a lot with Mary. But I was, you know, when Mary was kicking him out and he was like fine, and then, you know, if he showed up to my house and he said something to me about it, I was like, go back.
Okay, so she admits in this part about the getting kicked out is that there have been times in Cody's life, it doesn't happen very frequently, but she said it has happened, where Cody has been kicked out of somebody's house. And he said that when Cody and Mary were together still, before they ended up splitting, that Mary would frequently kick him out of her house, and then he would run to Robyn's house. Robyn would then send him back to Mary's house and say, go back there and work things out. What I find interesting here is that when he gets into a fight with a sister wife, where is he running? Is he running to Christine? Is he running to Janelle? No, he's running to Robyn. And during COVID, who did he hang out with? Was he running to Janelle or Christine? No, he was running to Robyn. Cody, in this world, I mean, you have to think of it this way. He really doesn't have his own house. And it is a life where a guy is just moving from house to house to house to house. And that's in and of itself not easy on a guy. You know, I talk to people that are advocates against polygamy and advocates for survivors of polygamy that say it's not a good system for men or for women. It's not a fair system for the women, but it's also an unfair world for a man to be forced to have to manage all these different women in order to get to heaven, because inevitably he's going to fail, right? And inevitably there's going to be huge problems. It's a huge responsibility. And men that have left have talked about the struggles that they've had and just how miserable they were trying to deal with this in the effort to get to heaven. I'm not excusing Cody in this, but it sounds like there's this process of kicking people out. And Cody and Mary have actually talked about the fact that she's kicked him out and she didn't want him there for a very long time. So that actually doesn't surprise me. What actually surprised me is that he's running to Robyn, and then Robyn's like, you need to go back.
Like, go back and stay in another bedroom. Like, don't come over here. Like, this doesn't work. The idea of Cody leaving if there's a problem is kind of something that wives use and he uses sometimes. Actually, he uses it less, I think, than the wives do. But sometimes, I mean, I know I've done it with him where I'm like, well, if you're going to have a problem with me and we're having this issue and you're going to act like that, there's another house over there you can stay at.
So it sounds like this is a tool that these women are using, that if Cody's not behaving or if he's having a bad day and he's treating them poorly, they'll kick them out and say, like, listen, if you're going to act this way, you can go somewhere else. Again, this is not a healthy way to have a relationship. It doesn't force you or him to have any level of communication. It means you're just running from person to person to person, problem to problem to problem. Nothing's getting resolved. And Cody doesn't have to resolve anything with anyone because he can always find someone that isn't mad at him. He lives in a world where he can get kicked out of a house and go to another house and everything is fine. So she's saying, I have even been mad at him and I have said, well, if you don't want to act right, you can go to somebody else's house. It's actually because the entire time I was watching the fight between Cody and Christine, I kept thinking, I don't know how the other three women can be watching this right now and not think in their heads, like, this could be me. I don't know how any of them could stand behind them and be like, that's not okay. Any woman that can sit by and co-sign and watch what he was doing to that woman, to Christine, and be okay with it, they're going to be on the receiving end of it next. He has no incentive to change because he's done this already to Mary. He has no incentive to change because he can always find another wife. He has no incentive to actually be a good husband because he knows that he can do whatever he wants. There's no accountability, and he has this, well, if you don't like it, you can leave attitude. That's what I thought Robyn was going to say was the problem, but instead she said she kicks him out too. So this isn't healthy on either end, but I still blame the husbands. But it's, again, proof to me that polygamy isn't making them better people, because better people would work through the problem and communicate through their differences, in my opinion.
Or I even had that sister wives were like, I don't want you here tonight because I've got a party going on with my friends. can you go stay with someone else?
So then she says that sometimes they have parties and so they kick him out. Okay, that's different. And I feel like she said that as a way to levy the fact that she's saying, well, I've kicked him out of my house before because we're fighting. So then she has to like, well, and we're also kicking him out because we don't want him over because we've got our girlfriends over. I don't believe her for a second.
Because I have sister wives, I have this kind of luxury of go stay somewhere else. And I try really hard not to do that to him, but I have said it to him a few times. It's like, well, if you have a problem and there's an issue here, like I put it down a boundary and I'm just like, well, you can go somewhere else if this is what's going on.
So she says because there are other wives, she has the luxury to send him somewhere else when there are problems between her and Cody. She calls this a boundary. What I would say is there is no communication when the boundary is escape, because escaping solves nothing. Cody lacks the ability to even communicate, and the people in this family don't communicate or work through their differences because they don't have to. They can ignore the problems. They can move on with their days. Cody can move from house to house to house. He doesn't have to deal with the conflict because guess what? He can just find someone that's easier to deal with where he's not having conflict. Robyn has been actually kind of scaring me this season because I feel like I think I'm getting this gut from her that she just isn't on board with how he's acting. And I think she's realizing this could be me. And I think when he is this angry at Christine, there's absolutely no way he can't bring that into another home. No way. When you have a huge split happening in your family like that, there's no way it can't impact the other wives. And there's no way it's not taken out on Robyn. There's no way it's not taken out on the kids. There's just no way. If he's brooding and angry, there's no way she's not going to feel that. And she believes in plural marriage, and I believe that she believes in plural marriage. And because of that, she knows that this is going to F up their destiny. And she's going to want him to work things out. And the fact that he's walking away and he doesn't work things out, is this the kind of guy that you want leading you to your celestial kingdom? Someone that will give up? Because that's what he does. He gives up. He doesn't care to actually do better because he's Kody Brown. That's my opinion. Tell me what yours is in the comments below. Bye, guys.